Okay, hello everybody. Thanks for joining us today on the PathFactory Tour, where today we're going to be talking about virtual event experience. Now, typically this is a weekly live webinar series where we cover one of PathFactory's main modules. Today we're actually going to be doing it recorded because we actually have our yearly big customer event today. So I'm over there handling that live. But today we are still, I am still live in the chat for this session, although this is recorded. You will find me over here. Oh, yep, that way. Over here on the right, answering any questions that you may have. So feel free to share as we're going along. If anything pops into your head, I will be there live to answer it. But otherwise, we're going to be giving the presentation as we would typically, and we like to keep it short. So let's go ahead and get started. So a little bit about PathFactory first. We are a B2B marketing technology that's trusted by hundreds of marketing teams worldwide, and this is kind of the reason for why we exist. It all comes down to the micro personalized experiences that we all enjoy in our personal lives. So things like Netflix, Amazon, Spotify, they're all really great at giving you personalized, intelligent recommendations to keep you engaging with them. You know, watching more episodes on Netflix, finding that next book for you to buy on Amazon, for example. We're all getting really accustomed to these experiences in our B2C lives. And the problem here is that B2B companies are kind of struggling to keep up. You know, Serious Decisions here says 77% of B2B marketing organizations struggle with effective content delivery. And I mean, when you think about like a typical B2B website, you know, it can sometimes feel like a bit of a maze for prospects to go and find the information that they need. So we help visitors go down a path of prescriptive, personalized content for them. This removes unnecessary friction from every stage of the customer life cycle, you know, helping marketers improve conversion rates, dramatically reduce sales cycle times, and just provide a better customer experience in service of pipeline and revenue generation. And at the same time, we collect amazing engagement data around that interaction. So here's an example of the kind of data that you can really drill into. So down to the known individual, in this case, this guy Steve here, we can see he spent 4 minutes and 12 minutes, or sorry, 4 minutes and 12 seconds on this web page here, 2 minutes and 46 seconds on this white paper, you know, culminating in a session that lasted 12 minutes, 55 seconds, and he looked at these four things. So it's about going a lot deeper than, you know, the click, the form fill, the download, to actually get to the heart of those interactions. Were they meaningful or not? And then passing that along to your sales team, your customer success team, whoever needs to see that data. And this is kind of how we break it down into two main parts. One, personalizing the content experience for your prospects so that they're getting served an intelligently tailored package of content wherever they're engaging with you to keep them engaging. And then using the data from those interactions to understand how your content is performing, understand what your buyers are looking at, and then using that data to fuel more intelligent content recommendations. Now, we do this through a multitude of different kind of products and methods for deploying it. Our three main ones are campaign tools, virtual event experience, and website tools. And today we're going to be talking about virtual event experience. So this is all about optimizing these experiences to make video, and that could be either live or on demand, the star of the show, while also allowing attendees to engage with additional content during the event and self-nurture. So this is great for, you know, big virtual events where you have multiple sessions, you have keynotes, breakouts, a simple webinar where it's just one dedicated session, a product demo like this one here, boardroom pilots, or even internal meetings as well. And the reason that we, you know, created this product, I mean, it's no surprise, you know, this is an old story at this point, but the world's changing with the loss of in-person events. Our buyers are looking to self-educate somewhere else online, and you as a marketer need to be able to understand that online behavior at a level that just hasn't been achievable so far. You know, when you're meeting somebody in person at an event, you get their body language, you get to have a natural conversation with them. It's just a totally different kind of level of interaction that we need to try to recreate now digitally. So in service of this, we kind of asked ourselves, who is doing this really well in the consumer space? You know, just as we can get inspired by the way Netflix recommends content, we were thinking, who's doing virtual events really well? And a couple names kept popping up. So TED, for example, they do an amazing job at bringing their physical events to life online, and they've been doing this for years. You can easily choose the talk that you want to see, filtering down in a tiled view and choosing the one that you want to watch. And then when you're on an individual TED Talk, you get more details, more information. There's comments, further reading, and even a watch next view. And I'd encourage you to check that out if you haven't seen it yet. It's a really great experience. And although this isn't really a traditional virtual event, think about how YouTube does this so well. They have video as the star of the show, and yet there's a lot of different recommended content and ways to interact with it while you're there. So then we started to think about the technology that's available to B2B marketers today, and we realized a few things. One, the UI in most virtual event tech isn't great. So, they're really trying to recreate that like in-person experience almost to a fault, where maybe there's like a picture of a trade show floor and there's little avatars for people, and it's just a little outdated at this point, doesn't really work. Other modern solutions aren't designed for B2B, so they have a lot of vanity metrics, and maybe they don't even connect to your marketing automation platform, which for B2B marketers is table stakes at this point. B2B marketers have tools that we can leverage already. So think about all the video conferencing that you may already be doing using something like Zoom. We already have something that can broadcast video. Why can't we just use that? And you may already have conversational marketing tools as well. You might have a way of chatting with people that you could use. And then lastly, events are a part of your digital strategy now. So everyone needs to be involved. It's not just a function of events anymore. Demand's getting involved, content marketing, marketing operations. So there needs to be a platform that brings everybody together and a common language that we can all speak in service of better events. And critically important too is understanding the digital behavior of our virtual attendees, as I mentioned earlier. With the move to online and the loss of being able to see our attendees in-person physical body language, shake their hand and everything, we have an opportunity to capture and use their online behavioral data instead if we collect it, analyze it, and use it. So for this virtual event here, we can tell which attendees and accounts are engaging. We can see what they're engaging with, and then we can do session analysis as well. So which sessions are driving the most engagement, which are providing the best return on investment. Or down, if we take a look at Steve again here, in the case of like a big virtual event, we can see, oh yeah, Steve spent about 32 minutes on the keynote. He then spent 24 minutes on the plenary, and then 18 and 15 minutes in 2 different breakout sessions. So it overall gives you a really, really impactful picture of how this person engaged with your virtual event. So now I'm going to get a little bit meta here and start referencing some of the things that you may be seeing in this virtual event here to kind of detail the different modules available. So this, of course, is a virtual event experience that you're in right now. And you'll notice a few different things. So one, you have the supplemental content. So up here, oh, there we go, that way. Yep. Up here on the right, feel free to click around. I would encourage you to check that out. The content is displayed picture-in-picture in session. So you can click through those multiple pieces of content without going away. The video will still continue. And in this pane, you can display all sorts of different content. So basically anything with URL, the only limitation here is you can't put another video in there, or else it would start to get a little bit messy. So you can put PDFs in here, you can put websites, all sorts of different things. And if you're a PathFactory customer already, this just pulls from the existing content library that you have. So if you have content inserted into PathFactory already, you can start displaying it here. For everyone who's not a PathFactory customer, this is as simple as copy pasting a URL of the content that you want to display here. You copy paste that into PathFactory, and then you could start to serve it in tracks like this or in virtual events like this. And of course, as with all assets served in PathFactory, the supplemental content is tracked down to the second. So if somebody's known and they're on one of these events, which it's an event, they filled out a form, they're going to be known, you'll be able to check how long they've spent on the supplementary content that you're supplying them. Next up, the chat. So on the bottom right here, this is a out-of-the-box turnkey chat that comes with virtual event experience. So, it has a Slack-like interface. There's emojis, you can do polls, you can reply to people, and its primary use is to chat with your attendees in the session, as I'm doing with you all right now. And but that's not the limit. This comes out of the box. However, if you do have a chat solution that you're using right now, you can insert that here as well. So if you're using something like Intercom, Drift, maybe Incent, you can put that here. And this is better for, when you want your audience to chat just with you directly, something like a help desk or a direct chat to sales, that kind of thing. Whereas the chat that we have right now, I really, really love this chat experience because if you have your attendees chatting with each other, it adds a lot of value to your presentation. A webinar that we did last week was about lessons you could learn from this year to bring into the next. And we had our attendees giving each other best practices. So that's something that we couldn't build into our presentation, but they made it all the more valuable because they were chatting with each other. So this is one of my favorite parts of the platform. And then, of course, what's a virtual event without the video? So you'll see here, this presentation right now, we're actually using YouTube to do this. So I recorded this session in Zoom, and then I'm using a YouTube Premiere to actually show it right now. However, there are a lot of different options available for you. If you're using Zoom for your webinars right now, you can actually put that Zoom experience right in here too and start broadcasting that way. So if you have a video conferencing, you have a video streaming service already set up, it basically just gets kind of framed into this experience here where you get to brand it, you get to add the supplementary content, add the chat, put a description in there, and record how long people spend with it. So just a much more elevated experience. And it's all brought together in a very easy to use platform. So it's a very simple, you can even make templates for your event designs. And this is something that you don't need coding experience to pull off. There's a simple WYSIWYG editor. You can customize the branding for these things, and there's a very intuitive backend to do so. Now, if you do want to get super custom, there are coding options available for you. You can go in there and code the CSS. You can add HTML, do whatever you want with it. But that's for extra credit. You don't actually need to do that to be able to use this experience. And so here's a couple examples from our customers. We had Axonify do Axonicom earlier this year to about 1,400 attendees. They used Zoom, YouTube, and Vidyard to stream their videos within the platform. And they actually had 60 different sessions. So pretty crazy big effort that they pulled off there. And they were able to get an additional 18,000 assets looked at because they were serving them in session. Each attendee actually viewed on average about 9.5 assets extra. So it's pretty impressive. And they, of course, were very happy to be partnering with us. And then here's another example, Logarithm. They had about 1,700 attendees. So they used WebEx and YouTube to stream within VEX. That's our shorthand for virtual event experience. And they did 46 sessions and got an additional 34,000 views on content through the session. So really impressive stuff. Now, what would a live demo be without actually getting in the platform, of course? So I'm going to ditch the slides here, and I'm going to show you the actual platform itself. So again, we're going to get a little bit meta here in that I'm going to be showing you how we configured this session. So this is the virtual event configuration within the back end of PathFactory, showing you how we configured this event. So this is the overall kind of like parent event for the whole event. I'm going to say that word a lot probably. And this is a PathFactory Tour. So you can set the event name. You can customize the URL slug, so how the URL will actually appear when somebody wants to reach it. You can set the start and end time. This is a recurring series. I do this every week, so I actually didn't need to set a start and end time. It's going to be happening for a long time. You can set a registration form on this that will pass directly into your marketing automation platform. And then you can actually get into the sessions themselves. So I have a recurring set of 3 different sessions that run for the PathFactory Tour. So I have my website tools, my campaign tools, and my virtual event experience sessions. So let's go ahead and look at the virtual event one that I configured. already. So here you set the name. So I'll just get rid of new there. If you're still working on something, you can keep it private, of course, so that it doesn't go public if you're still kind of configuring things. Here, the URL slug is configurable again. You have a engagement time toggle here in seconds, which basically says, what is the meaningful amount of time that I would say is meaningful for someone to spend on this session, so that I can like trigger something into my marketing automation. Here I said 3 minutes. You know, this is about a 15-20 minute webinar, so I'd say 3 minutes is enough to say, yep, they showed up. They're like an attendee for this one. You can set a description, and then the session type you can either have on demand or live. On demand, you can set a you know, if you have a video that you want people to just come in and be able to play on their time, you can set an on-demand session. Live is, you know, you have a set premiere and you want it to go live at that time. So here we have the start time and end time. I left myself a little bit of time at the end there in case we get some questions and I want to stay in the session. But here, this is the actual YouTube Premiere link that I configured in YouTube, and then I inserted that URL within the PathFactory. So now at 1 p.m., my YouTube Premiere will render into the PathFactory Tour session here as you're seeing it, and that will be our live session. And then you can set a few other things. So the supplementary content here, this is all the content that you'll see over here on the top right-hand side. You use your content library to add the content there, and then you can actually, you know, play with the order of the content, remove it, add some more. And then there's the chat view as well. So here we just go into the chat, we turn it on. You can export your chat logs after the event is done. So you can put this information into your marketing automation platform if you want, or in the hands of your sales team. You can add moderators. And this is how you'd configure your different sessions. You then have the appearance set up as well. So this is the actual like look and feel of the whole event. You can set, you know, what the title is. Just gonna put that back. You can put the like subheader here, and then you can get into actual like, you know, paragraphs here. You can set what the background image is, and there's a lot more to this appearance setting too that we could set up. It's just, you know, I'm not going to go in and do some coding here for the extra credit stuff, but the very simple kind of look and feel of this out of the box is very easy to use and will look good with no coding experience required. You can then set up different session groups. So this is great for, you know, some teams have a multi-day event, so they want to do day 1, day 2. They can use these session groups to bundle them together like that. I have them set up because I have my on the next PathFactory tour, which is going to show what the next session is, and then and don't miss is the upcoming ones further than that. And then I basically just kind of like add or remove sessions here as different events are happening. So I'll actually add the virtual event experience one. Here we go, put that in there. And it's as simple as that. And then of course, there's actually a landing page builder, so you can get really custom. This is where that kind of like coding comes in if you want to do something really, really custom. And then the last thing I wanted to show is actually some analytics. So let me just do a refresh on my window here. So here's a look at a webinar session that we ran last week. We had 57 attendees show up for the webinar. And in total, we had 38 hours of engagement on the webinar itself, including the webinar session. But I think what's really cool is you can look at the total secondary asset time as well. So we had an additional 3 hours of engagement time because we served supplemental content with the session. And that culminated in 182 assets, 55 of which were, again, incremental, looking at supplemental content. Now, we could drill down into this. I could show you what it looks like below, but this is actual data, so I don't want to show anything off sensitive here. But there's a lot of getting down into the individual session, into the individual known user, and seeing what they looked at. And this is, of course, all made available to your marketing automation platform or to your sales team if they use Salesforce. All this data gets passed along where your team needs to see it. So That's basically it for today for our session. I hope this was helpful. Again, I'm going to stick around actually in the chat here for a couple minutes if anyone has any additional questions. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us today. Don't forget to join us on our next PathFactory tour. In the follow-up, we're going to have an invitation for that. And let's go over and have a look at which session that will be. That will be on December 15th, the website tool. So take a look for your follow-up. You can sign up for that session there. But thanks again for joining us today. My name's Evan. If you have any questions, I'll put my email in the chat as well. But it's evan.doyle@pathfactory.com. And I look forward to hearing from you. So thanks again. Have a good one.